Hello and welcome to this week's video, which began exactly where the last project ended. As I was taking apart my Serengeti Safari Park poorly, I realized I had this great landmass ready to be used for something. And I remember about 4 years ago when I first got all this Lego, I made a micro city, and then again 2 years ago. And I remember really enjoying that, so I'm gonna go for 3 and see how much I've grown creatively and technically and physically. Luckily, I already had these great plates built in so I could see in my mind where the city would kind of be placed and spread out so I could get the suburbs and maybe even some farmland. And already I think I've grown creatively, as this idea is much better than my first 2 attempts, which just focused on the city and the buildings. But as I was placing these trees down, I was struck by 2 very pressing thoughts. One, this is already a much better Serengeti Safari Park than whatever I was doing in the last video. And second, what if I made a piece of land that would go from the very first building to a mega metropolis, like what you saw last week? And it's a weird thought when you think about it, because in every city there is a piece of land where somebody built the first house on that ground. And since no one knows or can prove where that is, you can just tell people you live on the ground where the first house was built. It's a great flex to have in case you need it someday. The trees are made very simply like this, with a few variations of bark, and the house is the same, just with 1s, 2s and 4s in different colors. Now, I'm not a historian, but imagine for a city to be built after the church, you need government. And after the government, that's when you need the law. Other than that, I just needed to build a lot of buildings. And I mean like a lot. Not only did I have to make enough skyscrapers to fill a metropolis, I also had to make 400 years worth of buildings and houses. And it's not that I'm complaining, I'm not. It's just that it's a lot of buildings to go through. And I'm not sure how to keep your attention without making some juvenile joke or resorting to overcompensating for what really isn't that impressive. I mean, I did try to make as many nice buildings as I could, but I also had to make a handful of filler buildings. My point is, there's a lot of buildings here, and they can't all be great. In fact, I ended up only liking 2 of them. Alright, I might be a bit harsh on myself. I will admit and see that I have gotten better, and maybe also my judgment has gotten harsher because of that. And I can see that a lot of these buildings are better than my attempts from 4 years ago. But at the same time, they do look very close to the buildings I was making 2 years ago. And here we get to my favorite building, which is the castle. I do love how I managed to fill as many details in there with a few houses. But it does seem like I've done this before in my Age of Empires video, so maybe this could be considered cheating. Second on my list is the stadium, which feels also very similar to my previous SimCity build. So maybe it's looking like I haven't grown that much technically in the last 2 years. But moving on to the actual city, I imagined a few roads leading into it, maybe emerging from a forest with the tallest buildings in the middle. Something like this. I also played with the idea of having the whole city at the end, like this. It was supposed to make the city look bigger or compensate for the fact that I didn't have that many buildings after all, but it just looks silly. And there's definitely too many trees here. So I definitely prefer having the city in the center. Kinda like this. So now I just gotta fill it out. And this is what I ended up with, after 4 years and 4 months from this to this. That's pretty good, if I gotta say so myself. I mean, I still got a long way to go. But personally, I can see how creatively I've grown from what I can see and get out of the brick. But technically, that's where it seems like I've been standing still. Maybe I should try technique. I mean, I've tried micro builds, alternative builds. So maybe my next step should be technique builds. Something that moves. Ooh, I get chills just thinking about it. But I'll let this play out to up my watch time, but also to let you relax and just sit back, find the finer details of this city, and see if you can see my statue and my frog statue at the station. After that, I got the outtakes from my time-lapse video, a kind of second perspective from the settlers video, my previous video. So I'm just gonna leave you to it, and thanks for watching, and as always, you have a lovely day, and I'll see you. Cheers, bye.